Diddy. What exactly were the freak-off events Cassie Ventura described, and how did they shape the explosive testimony against Sean Diddy Combs? From the moment Cassie Ventura stepped into the courtroom on day 2 of Sean Diddy Combs's racketeering and sex trafficking trial, the air turned electric. The visibly pregnant singer and model, now 38 and expecting her 3rd child, became the prosecution's star witness, and the focal point of a case that spans over a decade of alleged abuse, coercion, and humiliation. As she calmly placed her overcoat behind her chair and turned ever so slightly toward the jury, she rubbed her belly, reminding everyone present of both her vulnerability and her strength. Ventura told jurors that roughly 1 year into their relationship, Combs introduced her to what he called freak-offs. He described these gatherings, essentially voyeuristic orgies, as performance pieces directed by Combs himself. According to Ventura, Combs orchestrated everything from the outfit she wore to the precise mood lighting. She recounted wandering the aisles of adult boutiques, purchasing lingerie and costumes, then consulting Combs on which ensemble he wanted her to wear. Inside hotel suites and private residences, sessions began with a soft glow of candles and gradually escalated to professional studio lights, all under Combs's watchful eye. As the testimony unfolded, it became clear that Ventura did not participate willingly. She described being so fearful of Combs's power over her that she never directly said no, even when her instincts screamed otherwise. Instead, she hoped he would sense her reluctance. And yet, the shows continued. With meticulous detail, she explained how Combs choreographed every act, directing how participants moved, how much baby oil they applied, and how long each encounter would last. Some freak-offs, she said, went on for 36 to 72 hours, with the longest marathon session spanning 4 days. Central to the prosecution's case is a series of videos Ventura captured, what she termed her freak-off videos. Combs allegedly threatened to release these recordings if she ever refused him or violated his instructions. He said he'd make them public, Ventura testified, her voice steady yet tinged with pain. She explained that Combs used these videos as leverage, weaponizing them to control her actions, isolate her from friends and family, and ensure her obedience. She never saw a formal threat in writing, but the implicit fear was enough. Refusal, she believed, meant humiliation on a global scale. Ventura's recollection of domestic violence was equally harrowing. The courtroom had already viewed the now infamous 2016 hotel surveillance footage of Combs assaulting her. On the stand, she described hiding in hotel rooms for a week as bruises faded and fear subsided. Although both sides agreed that the footage showed inhumane violence, the defense insisted that those incidents, however brutal, should be classified as domestic disputes, not evidence of a criminal enterprise. Ventura held her composure as she recounted running for the elevator, only to be thrown to the ground by Combs's security detail. A significant moment came when prosecutors asked Ventura how Combs kept tabs on her. She revealed that he lived nearby and that if she tried to slip away, his security staff or a trusted assistant would find her. She even named individuals, assistants, who would appear unannounced, often cleaning up evidence or retrieving her phone. Ventura's naming of these figures hinted at a much larger operation, one her lawyers say involved staff who facilitated, covered up, and enabled the alleged crimes. Throughout her testimony, Ventura never lost her composure. She spoke about her roles in organizing escorts, booking flights, and coordinating travel from Miami to Ibiza, New York, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas, all under the guise of record business activities. She admitted she arranged for women to be flown in under false pretenses of employment, only to be ushered into freak-off events. She conveyed how Combs controlled every detail, from wardrobe to lighting, down to whether they used baby oil to make bodies glisten under studio-grade lights. One of the most distressing details came when Ventura described being forced or coerced into sexual acts involving bodily fluids. The prosecutor asked bluntly, "Did he or people he told to urinate on you during these freak-offs?" Ventura's voice never wavered. "No, it was disgusting. I choked. I didn't want anyone to do that." She explained she never explicitly said stop because she believed it would only make him angrier. That admission opened a door for the defense, which will likely argue that the absence of a clear verbal refusal puts the legality of the acts into a gray area. The question of consent formed a legal battleground. Prosecutors contend that Combs's power, fame, and financial leverage over Ventura, coupled with his implied threats of exposing intimate videos, amounted to coercion. The defense, however, has already signaled it will highlight Ventura's participation in organizing these events, her occasional expressions of enjoyment for the one-on-one time with Combs, and her failure to vocally protest. In opening statements, the defense said this case is about love, infidelity, and money, not a criminal enterprise. They portrayed Ventura as a willing participant in both the luxury and the lifestyle that accompanied Combs's world. Still, the prosecution reminded jurors that the indictment goes beyond simple domestic violence. It alleges a racketeering conspiracy, arguing that Combs operated a criminal organization that trafficked women and forced them into degrading acts. To prove this, they emphasized that Combs's staff not only facilitated the acts but also concealed them. Ventura's testimony about assistants conducting surveillance on her, retrieving her phone, and coordinating travel for participants all feeds into this narrative of a sophisticated criminal ring. A recurring theme in Ventura's testimony was her youth and naivete. She told jurors she was 19 when she began dating Combs, a man roughly 17 years her senior and the head of one of the biggest hip-hop empires in the world. She described signing a 10-album record deal, believing she had found both career mentorship and genuine affection. But as the freak-offs began, she realized the relationship was a guise, a pathway into a world that hinged on her humiliation and exploitation. The trial also touched on darker chapters in Combs's past, particularly his relationship with the late Kim Porter, Combs's longtime partner and mother to 3 of his children, including twins Jesse and Delilah, who sat in the courtroom that day with their heads lowered. Ventura testified that her physical relationship with Combs quietly overlapped with his on-again, off-again romance with Porter. When asked who Combs was seeing at the start of their physical involvement, Ventura's one-word answer, Kim Porter, elicited gasps. Porter died unexpectedly in 2018, and Ventura lamented that Porter's alleged intention to reveal Combs's dark side was cut short by her untimely death. As Ventura concluded her first day of testimony, she broke down when asked if there was ever a time she enjoyed a freak-off. She admitted she did, only because it meant spending intimate one-on-one time with Combs, whom she said she loved. That admission spoke volumes about the psychological abuse she endured. She craved affection so much that she endured humiliation to feel close to him. In her words, "I wanted to please him. I loved him." At that moment, the court felt the full weight of her trauma. By the time the day ended, jurors had witnessed 10 years of alleged abuse condensed into a few hours of testimony. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, waited in the hallway to lend support, though the judge ultimately ruled he could not remain during her testimony. As the court recessed, the prosecution promised more corroborating witnesses would follow, assistants and other participants ready to verify Ventura's claims. The defense, in turn, vowed to challenge every detail, portraying Ventura as an embittered former lover seeking both money and revenge. This trial is far from over. The jury must now sift through graphic testimony, lurid videos, and fiercely competing narratives of power and control. Was Cassie Ventura a victim, coerced by fear of exposure? Or was she a willing partner in a lifestyle she helped orchestrate? The verdict will hinge on whether the jury sees the freak-offs as consensual spectacles or as abuses of power by one of music's most powerful figures. Stay tuned as Venus's testimony continues, and the next chapter in this unprecedented trial unfolds.